You guys, things are about to get exciting. At least for me anyway. Hey everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to my channel. And if you are looking at the title of this video, you are probably very confused right now. And I don't blame you, because most authors who use a pen name don't necessarily want people to know they have a pen name, right? That's usually the reason why people use a pen name in the first place. They don't want you to know what they're writing under the other name. But for me, that's not the case. I am sharing my pen name with you guys today because I don't care if you know I'm using the pen name. I'm using it to differentiate between what I'm writing. So I'm going to take a few minutes here to explain to you why I am doing this. All right, one of my main goals for 2022 is to get back into my writing career. That's one of the things I'm hoping to also do on this channel, although this channel will always remain a primarily booktube channel because I am a fan of reading books. Long before I was a fan of writing books, I love reading what people write. I love you guys as well in the booktube community, so that is not changing. But I will every once in a while pop in here with a writing related video. I'm thinking about doing Writers Wednesdays. I don't know if I will do that or not. And maybe if I do Writers Wednesdays, it'll be like a couple times a month. It definitely won't be every week, but I just want to share writing stuff with you as well, but keep this primarily booktube. So first of all, if you're looking at this and you're like, another AuthorTube video, don't worry, this will still remain a primarily booktube channel. All right, so let's talk about pen names, right? So first of all, why am I using a pen name? Why would I tell you my pen name, like what's going on, right? All right, so let me give you a little bit of background on why I'm choosing to split some of my writing into a pen name, why I'm choosing to keep some writing under my real name. So first of all, I will say that I grew up in a Christian household, and I grew up in a very strict denomination of Christianity when I was growing up. As I've gotten older, I have gone into what I consider to be more authentic Christianity. It's not a set of rules, it's a belief system, right? Like, I'm not going to go into details. This is not a Christian channel. I will say that I was raised in a very, very almost cultish like upbringing when I was growing up. And as I got older, I broke away from that and found an actual version of Christianity that I think is true and that I follow and that I believe in. And I'm a member of a church as we speak. So I do believe, and I understand that a lot of the people who follow my channel, my Instagram, people on my Facebook that I know in real life tend to also be these people I've known through my whole life that either may or may not have came from this super strict religious background I was raised in, or maybe current friends that go to my current church. And because of that, there are a lot of views on what is appropriate to write and what is not appropriate to write. I have not talked about this in too much detail on this channel because it's a little bit controversial, and this is not a Christian channel. Like, I don't care if you're a Christian, I don't care. We can be friends. I'm not that kind of crazy. But I will say that in the Christian community, people are not always fans of romance novels, and it depends on what denomination you're in and kind of how strict your church is. Some churches are against all forms of romance novels, and some Christian churches are against just certain types of romance novels. So for example, the church I grew up in is against all forms of Christian romance, or all forms of romance novels, because they think that a romance novel gives you false expectations of what a godly husband will be like. It gives you false expectations on what you should expect in a marriage or a romance, and then it gives you an open door to want to sin because you read things that make you think thoughts that are not appropriate, and therefore, even if it's a Christian romance or a clean romance, you should not read this book because it is inappropriate and will bring you thoughts of a bad nature, right? Then I've got other churches, including the one that I currently belong to, that believes that it's okay to read a clean romance as long as you realize it's just fiction and you don't actually think that's the way your romance will go in real life. They just don't think you should read romance that has naughty bits in it, right? So don't read any books that have sex scenes in it. That's how they view things. And so I realized that when I write romance novels, because of the group of friends I have and the followers I have, not only on this channel, but on other forms of social media that I have under my real name, that some of them are going to be against me writing romances, regardless of whether there's sex scenes or not. And then also, I enjoy a variety of topics. You guys know I love bad boys, and so when I write my personal romances, they tend to be vampires, shifters, mafia, guys with a dark past. Like, that's what I write about because I like really emotional books. And so I get a lot of pushback over the years, over the 10 years or so that I've been writing and talking about releasing books from people in the Christian community. But not only that, but although I write romance novels of that sort, I do write things that aren't that way, right? Like I have my mom's devotional, my mom's memoir that I wrote that I would like to re-release. I have a devotional about going through cancer that I would like to release, and I do have a couple nonfiction books that are going to be about coming out of the cult that I'm writing and things like that. So I'm trying to find a way to differentiate because I feel like it's important that if I'm going to write books that are devotionals, books of a religious nature, obviously my mother's book, my mother was a strict Baptist woman, you don't write things like that. If I'm going to write books like that, then I also don't want to have a book that would contradict that under the same name. So that is why I have decided to switch what name I write certain things under. So I'm going to explain it to you. My real name, I will still release books under. I actually re-released Summer Wish. This is a sappy, sweet romance that has one smooch, and that's it. There is nothing else in that book that could possibly be construed as inappropriate. And the couple talks about praying for each other at one point. You can read the book in 30 minutes. It is literally the sweetest, sappiest, cheesiest piece of work I have ever written in my entire life. And I don't mind if that is under my real name because there's nothing in this book that could possibly be construed as inappropriate or sinful in the Christian church. So that book is under my real name. My mother's book is going to be re-released later this year. It's called Lessons My Mother Taught Me. That book will remain under my real name. Anything that would be church appropriate, or that my friends who are super strict denominations of Christianity, that they would want to read, will be under my real name. I will have my Medium blog under my real name whenever I get to writing that again. These are things that I don't feel like can get me in trouble, right? Because no one will be upset about them. They're clean, they're friendly, they're, everybody friendly. So those will be under my real name. I have decided to release the romance novels under a pen name, which is going to be M.E. Laverne. My name is Mary Ellen, and Laverne is actually my mother's middle name. So you guys may not know this, but I'm sort of named after my mother. I'm Mary Ellen, and my mother was Ellen Laverne. So I decided to do M.E. Laverne in honor of me and my mama. So those are going to be the books I write under my romances. Like all of the romances will be under M.E. Laverne. Now, with that being said, I don't tend to write steamy erotica romance. I don't feel comfortable writing it. I am a believer, so I don't need to hear about him putting his you-know-what and her you-know-what in my book. I do read romances where they tend to be graphic. I've mentioned many times on this channel how I've learned the art of skimming. I don't need to know what y'all are doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what y'all are doing. When I write a romance, my romance tends to be steamy, with a closed door scene, or if it is described, it'll be described in very flowery terms, right? So like think V.C. Andrews' Dark Angel. We came together in a fit of passion and the world exploded or something. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to talk about like what body parts are going in other, I don't, because I don't feel comfortable writing that. However, my romance novels do tend to be darker. I like a lot of trauma. Like I want a bad boy who's been through life. I like to write about things that would be considered like, I don't want to say mystical beings, but I write vampire romances. I have a book coming out in February that's a shifter romance. I have a whole series being based around like a suspense thriller where someone's got murdered and they're going to have guns, they're going to be shooting people. That obviously would not go over well with the Christian community because they don't tend to like that sort of thing. So That is why I'm choosing to write under the pen name, not because Mary is going to have, body parts everywhere, because I don't write that, but because there are themes in my book that may be inappropriate or considered inappropriate to people who are very strict religion. If you are a Christian person like me, who tends to be a little bit more like, it's like watching a movie, it's fiction, right? I'm not going to take it too personally, then you might love these. But in order to differentiate between what would be like strict Christian denomination friendly and non-strict Christian denomination friendly, I have separated my writing into two separate names. Okay, so Christian friendly with no issues would be Mary Ellen Quigley. Themes like vampires, werewolves, line shifters, mafia people, people with guns will be under Emmy Laverne. Okay, so that's how I'm differentiating. I also will be probably a little bit more active on M.E. Laverne's social media than I will be on Mary Ellen Quigley's social media. Mary Ellen Quigley will still be primarily my BookTube channel. That is my bread and butter, and I probably won't talk too much about my writing on there. I do have a Twitter for myself under Mary Ellen Quigley, and I have my Instagram. Okay? But over here, so far, I have a TikTok and I have a Twitter, and I'm so far planning to be very active on TikTok, promoting and doing kind of book talk and that sort of thing over here. So it really depends on where you want to follow me. It's up to you, your personal preferences, and where you prefer to kind of keep your reading. I do think that Mary Ellen Quigley will be more nonfiction down the road, and this will be more romance novels and mostly fiction. So that might also help you decide. But again, it's totally up to you. I am not trying to hide that I'm writing under a pen name. I truly don't care if you guys know. But I'm doing this to help my friends and family and fellow church members decide where they feel comfortable following me, if that helps at all. Because I don't want to offend people, and also I feel like it gives me a little bit more freedom to not be scared of having somebody who would really hate reading a vampire novel or something get super offended because it's under your name and I thought it would be okay and it's not. So again, I know a lot of people who do this all the time. I have a friend who actually writes children's books, and then she writes erotica, which I don't write erotica, but obviously you would not put absolutely would never put the same author name from a child's book, like a children's book author. She writes like middle grade or something like that. And can you imagine a kid walking into a bookstore because they love your books and they checked them out at the school library or something, and then they pick up a book that's like got naked people? I would die. I would die. So that's just, a lot of people do that. I also know a lot of people who do that because they cross genres, right? So I have one person who writes cozy mysteries. So she has one pen name for cozy mysteries, and then she writes paranormal romance. So she has two pen names, again, to differentiate, because if you love her cozy mysteries and then you pick up a book that's about werewolves, you're going to be like, what in the world? This isn't what I thought it was going to be. So sort of the same thing. So anyways, that's the story. Lots of hand movements in this video, but that's just kind of explaining. So again, I'll break it down below in more detail. I'll leave you links to the social media channels I have hooked up for Emmy Laverne so that you guys can follow me there if you want to. Part 2 is I am re-releasing The Wild Side. The Wild Side is the book, my very first book I ever self-published that was a total nightmare. If you missed my self-publishing nightmare story, I'm going to link the video up here. This was a total embarrassment. This book sucked. I loved the story idea, but the book sucked. Look at my terrible, ugly cover from 2011. Is that not the ugliest cover you've ever seen in your life? That is an ugly cover. Okay, well, I am re-releasing that book under my pen name. I will have a note to the reader at the beginning that explains it's a re-release. But this book has been expanded. There are new scenes, new chapters, more detail. I changed a couple character names, and there's a totally new twist ending to the book that did not exist in the previous book. This book, I hope and pray, and according to my editors, is way better than the book I released in 2011. So I hope you guys like it. This is the new cover, which is way better than the old cover. Way better. And it is coming out the second week of February. So, keep watching. I will have more details, especially on the M.E. Laverne Twitter and not Instagram, TikTok. I might have an Instagram someday. I don't have one yet, but it will definitely be announced on the Twitter and the Book Talk, TikTok, whatever you want to call it, for M.E. Laverne. So more details coming soon, but I am excited about it. And anyways, this is a long, rambly 15-minute video just to kind of explain what you're seeing, why you're seeing it, and also because, again, I don't want it to necessarily be a shock to people. Because I'm not trying to hide it. I just think it would be better to differentiate for those who prefer a certain level of Christian cleanliness. Okay, that's all I got. So hopefully that's not too confusing. Hope it helps you guys understand what I'm doing a little bit better. And also, because I had a couple of people be like, I saw your TikTok, but it was a different TikTok. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's fine. I did that on purpose. All right, guys. So that is enough AuthorTube for you this week. Thanks for letting me talk about AuthorTube, although most of you guys are here to talk about books. I'm going to be back on Friday to talk about all the books I read in the month of December. You guys, there was a lot of books. All right, I'll see you in a couple days. Bye.